Hi, this is John Rowell for the Rowell Report. Today is Monday, January 12th, 2026, and round two of the Trump attempts to destroy the Iranian leadership, the Ayatollah, the president, and the Revolutionary Guard has failed. And here is some information about that. First, what this was all about, how it was going to take shape, how the U.S. was going to enter into the conflict, and finally, the current status of this second attempt by Trump to destroy the Iranian leadership. So we have here, this is an interview from 6 months ago about the IAEA ability to visit nuclear enrichment sites in Iran after President Trump went ahead and said that they were already destroyed. There was nothing left of them. What more did the Iranians need to say? That this was no longer necessary. But also, the leader of the IAEA, the Argentinian leader, had supposedly passed information to Mossad through intermediaries or directly about the Iranian program and about the scientists and personal information about the scientists so that they could be targeted. The leader of the IAEA, Rafael Grossi, was made a persona non grata in Iran, and basically the IAEA was no longer able to visit any nuclear enrichment site or any nuclear power plant in Iran except the one that was being managed by the Russians. So that way they would not have access to any Iranian scientists. But anyway, here is the interview with Professor Mirandi who teaches in Tehran, and they ask him about the access of the IAEA to the enrichment site. So here we go with this few seconds from this interview.
Words. What is the status of the program?
Well, he has no idea because he has not visited any of the sites, and he will no longer be allowed to come to Iran because the Iranian parliament has approved a law banning any cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency because of the role that they played in this illegal war and this act of aggression. So what Parliament did was basically it punished the United States and blinded Western intelligence agencies for the future. But what is clear...
So there you go. The United States and Western agencies were left basically blind about what the Iranians were doing. So bravo to this attempt by the USA, Israel, and the UK to destroy Iran's leadership and their nuclear enrichment program, so that they basically cut off all access to gathering more information. It was very obvious that IAEA was passing information to Israel about the scientists from Iran. Many of these scientists were killed with their families, targeted with extended family, and so these many not only the scientists were killed, but also grandpa, grandma, kids, cousins, uncles. So anyway, this raised a lot of anger in Iran. And so the parliament basically said, no, you're not going to get access anymore. And so what are they going to do? Well, they have to move on to round two, which is what we are talking about today. Round two is the new attempt to decapitate the leadership in Iran, this time using a strategy of riots and to try to burn the country down. I guess this was used to a small extent in the January 6 riots when President Trump lost the election and went, mental about the whole situation, and so he encouraged this takedown of the U.S. democracy, and that did not work. So I don't know why he keeps on trying all these things that don't work, but he thinks eventually, like a broken clock is right 2 times a day. Eventually, President Trump will be right about something. So here is President Trump image. You can see here the arm of Benjamin Netanyahu with a phone, a small phone. I guess he doesn't like big phones. He's got this small phone, and he's trying to show something to President Trump. And we have Marco Rubio, we have Hegseth here, and they even need to put a little name in front of Donald Trump, the President of the United States, in case Benjamin Netanyahu forgot or didn't know who he was dealing with. Anyway, we have pictures here from this meeting. Another picture. What is that? It's like, hello. And then applause. I don't know. They agreed on something. And what did they agree on? Well, among other things, it's time to strike Iran. But they need a justification for it. So the justification was apparently Mossad agents entering Iran and paying off large groups of poor immigrants, possibly from Afghanistan. This is all hypothetical, but they found a group of people that would sympathize with their cause to try to burn the country down because of tough economic conditions in Iran. But of course, tough economic conditions in Iran have been taking place for a long time, so why now? So anyway, it appears that they started all these riots among agents, and then began to encourage disaffected youth to join in these riots. And so this began to spread throughout Iran. Although the extent of these riots is not known. So then the reports were coming out. So we have the report here of the mass killings going on during this. So we have reports of 2,000 being killed. Later we heard about 10,000 being killed. Wow, it's strange they didn't increase that to 100,000, a million, or 10 million or something. Some number, nice rounded number, 2,000. Wouldn't it be like, if you had an accurate number, you'd probably say 2,291 or something. No, it's just, they say more than 2,000 people, so this is random number. Mentioned 2,000 or 10,000. So we're getting all these pressure groups trying to create a media momentum saying that the Iranian regime is murderous and they need to be stopped at all costs. So, what is President Trump going to do? Of course, he's going to carry out strikes on their ballistic missile program because they're going to use them on the rioters. No, because they need to be stopped, and we need to stop them. So we went from the end of round one, where Israel, I guess, begged Trump to get a ceasefire, and that ended the round one, and then left everyone asking what's going to happen in round two. And so President Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu are meeting and talking about all these plans. And so these riots began in Iran. Some say these are Mossad agents, along with others, possibly from Afghan refugees who have no work and have no income, and hard to say exactly who was the initial nucleus of people who began these. So as soon as they went into the streets and began to riot and to burn things and to damage property, then immediately we got media reports about massive killings of rioters in the streets, these peaceful rioters who are doing nothing but simply asking for change. So, yes, the rioters who are burning down buildings and trying to burn the country down are these innocent protesters, peaceful protesters. Um, and so, what they need to do, of course, is to take down their ballistic missile program. And so then they were talking about options for what President Trump could do. Airstrikes on their ballistic missile program, of course, that will bring about better economic conditions. That will bring about democracy and the return of the Shah to bring about a new golden age of progress and prosperity in Iran. Of course, the Shah, the son of the Shah, the crown prince, as they call him, has not stepped foot in Iran since 1978. Would even know if he was in Iran at some point if he didn't hear someone speaking in Iranian or see a sign. I mean, this guy has been spending his whole life just, being a paid pressure point on Iran. Do this or we'll bring this guy in. And so he just is there perpetually on the sideline waiting to be brought into Iran. But these protests then began to subside, or these riots, and protests began against the rioters. So as soon as the people began to complain about the riots and asking the government to take care of the security in their communities, then we start to hear about all these things like airstrikes and taking this to the next level, and we have to attack Iran. So the opportunity is fleeing away from President Trump and the Western officials in Israel or the UK who want to destroy Iran's ballistic missile program and bring down their leadership. So panic starts to set in to the Trump administration. And then we have here CGTN interviewing again Professor Marandi. I think I said the first time Marandi. And ask him how are things in Tehran with all these riots and the country going down the tubes. What's going on there? So here's the question and answer.
You are in Tehran. Exactly what is the situation on the ground? How big, how widespread is the protest or are the protests? And how about the casualties? We're seeing different numbers coming out of the international media. Some put it above 500. How credible are they?
The situation is very much under control. The terror attacks and the rioters, they killed roughly 100 police officers.
So there we go. These peaceful protesters who were trying to bring about supposedly better conditions in Iran were killing police officers. Of course, if you kill a police officer here in this country, you're not considered either peaceful or democratic. You're considered either a leftist nut or some kind of terrorist, revolutionary. But if you are doing that in Iran, you are someone bringing about a better life for Iran, a change away from the repressive regime. So anyway, I think people need to be aware of all the propaganda that's going on. But also, this is the end of round 2. So we had round 1, which was the 12-day war, which was like who can send more missiles and drones and bombs faster to the other country, a long-range slugfest. Round two was more like, let's use the typical burn the country down regime change, like was successfully used in Nepal, and tried to do that in Iran. So now that is coming to an end. The government has brought this under control. And here we have the president of Iran announcing that these riots have basically ended, and announcing that Israel was behind these riots. Okay, so I can't verify any of the information, and I'm not verifying it. I'm just stating that this is what's being reported by Iran, that this is now completely under control. And so round two between the U.S./Iran, U.S./Israel and Iran is now coming to an end. So now we're going to move on to round three. So what round three will be, I don't know, but I would expect in the future another visit from Benjamin Netanyahu to President Trump to tell him about the plans for this successful attempt number three. I guess the third attempt is the winner. But anyway, round one has failed, round two has failed, and now we will look forward to round three between US/UK/Israel and Iran. So that concludes this video. I will leave links to the information in the description below. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. And if you have any comments to make, please do so in the area for the comments. So thank you again for joining me for this video, and have a good day. Bye bye.